See, world, what we can do? We never stop learning. Welcome, everyone, to another segment of Rita's World. Today, we're at home, May 17th. We're under the orange tree. I put this orange tree 64 years ago. When I bought the home with my husband and my 2 children, they said, if you're ever going to plant a fruit tree, plant it when you first move into a house. And it's worked. Look at all the oranges I have. So today, my friend Glenn is going to interview me later, but I want to start with Memories Start Now. My name really is Reita Green Weaver. Rita with an E, which is unusual. My father did that. And the Weaver in honor of my husband, Doodles Weaver, who was the best man and was kind and good to me all my life. I mean, while he was alive. So I'm going to start with my memories today. My mother and father, I've showed that picture before. I think my father is very handsome and my mother is a beautiful, loving woman. I'll start with that. And I was born in 1936 on April Fool's Day. My mother, I told you before, could not get to the hospital in time, so my father helped bring me into this world. And he named me a week later, R-E-I-T-A, Rita. But I had a great life in South Dakota. I just show you some pictures when I was a little toddler, and I had a, whatever they call that, boogie, whatever. And I loved to be in the yard, and I wore a hat. My mother always kept protecting us from the sun. And so, but I would dig in the ground, and I loved the flowers. And to this day, I love flowers. I have my sister and my 2 cousins, and this is me. My favorite picture, that's my diaper hanging out. What a terrible thing. And here's my sister and I. My father always gave us toys like wagons and things to play on. Here I am. My father worked as the general manager at the dairy in Scotland, South Dakota. And he brought home ice cream and ice cream bars and sometimes a cherry ice cream bar, my favorite. Then I learned to work. I said, teach me how to work. My mother taught me how to iron. To this day, I'm a good ironer. And my mother made angel food cakes every birthday for me and my sister. And we always had the neighborhood children, at least 6 kids at the party. And here's my cousin, and we're all growing up. My cousin Norma, Jane, and Rita. And here's my mom. And this is the last I remember of South Dakota, because then a terrible thing happened. World War II was beginning. Oh my gosh. So what did we do? We moved from Scotland to Warrenton, Missouri. But it changed my life, and I was not a happy camper. I mean, I could tell the difference. When you take children at a young age out of their comfort zone, and it was like nothing I'd ever wanted to feel. And my sister was the smart one, and I was slow, so he called me Dumbcuff. I used to think it was Doomcuff, but my sister said, no, it was Dumbcuff, whatever. But you know, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I never had to compete with the world. Dumbcuff is fine with me, and I have achieved a lot of things by being loving, kind, and not the brightest bulb in the universe. Anyway, I had to talk about my memories. But from there, when we went to Warrenton, Missouri, when the war started out, that was the worst, because my father worked in a TNT plant. And he got yellow jaundice because they made bombs. In Warrenton, Missouri, once my father got TNT poisoning and turned all yellow, we had to move. So where did we move now? Portland, Oregon. Why? Because my mother and father, my mother had 6 brothers and a sister, and her mother and father, and that was the place to go. So now we go to Portland, Oregon, and my mother was Rosie the Riveter, and my daddy, they're working in the shipyards. My mother worked the graveyard shift, so she'd be home in the daytime, and my dad worked whatever the shift, I don't know. But that was not good, going from one place to another. Now we go to a different school. Now I'm in school. Don't forget, I'm not the brightest bulb, right? My father tells me this, which is not good to tell children, but I've made the best out of it. Okay, now from Portland, Oregon, my father loved the creamery business, and he got a chance to go to Corvallis, Oregon. They needed a dairy manager. Yes, now I know my father's happy. We're happy, and I went to this school, and this lady, I think I'm in the 4th grade by now, this one teacher, she taught me how to add, divide, subtract, multiply, and do a little multiplications. I mean, a lot of multiplications, a little whatever. That was the best thing, because I learned that if I could do all those things and read a little bit and write a little bit, not great, but I'm okay. I've survived, so it's not good, but it is what it is. So, but today, I have to show you these little animals were out in the parkway. And I don't know, somebody stepped on it and broke his leg and everything, and I didn't like it. So I took it's called fast drying spackle, and it dries fast, and I gave him a new foot and painted it, and it's not perfect, but it's better. He's gonna be happier. And my little monkey, they did the same thing. Now, I put paper towels inside, then I put my spackle, and and his arm, I fixed him up pretty good, because he's the father, and someday he's going to be right next to his mother, his wife, with their little baby. So that's what I can do. I'm not the brightest girl, but shoot, I'm making these things come back. So that's all and you take a terracotta pot, and you take plates. You go to the thrift shop and you buy colored plates, and you crack them up and you put them with mortar, and then you grout them. I'm going to teach you how to do this on one of my segments, because it's so much fun. And at Mother's Day, I didn't give these away because these are special for my guests, my people that come here. But Mother's Day, I had flowers for all my mothers that would come by. And that's the best thing I could ever do, because to give makes me happy. And people write me notes and thank me. But it's the little things in life. And I want to have Glenn interview me, but I just want to remind people, believe in yourself. If I can make it, kids, anybody can make it. So trust me, trust yourself, and we're going to get through this virus one day or sooner than later. So, you have questions.
Yeah. One, I just heard this. You were talking about kids moving around and the instability, and how that instability really messes with kids.
Absolutely.
But also insulting your children and telling them they're dumb, right? I think that there was this harsh reality. I grew up a bit with that harsh reality, and definitely my parents were harsher, and you just kind of had to figure it out, and you push through it. I think it to some extent it did kind of scar them, and I know for me, I could always be better. I was never
good enough.
Oh. They never would say that, but I could always be better, right?
Of course, I understand.
But yours on the worst case.
Oh, God.
Your dad's calling you Doomkopf.
Yes.
And your sister's buying into it, and she's saying, no, it's Dummkopf.
Yeah.
And then you are just absorbing that and saying, fine, I'm dumb,
Which is
but it's going to be
fine.
good. And somehow you were able to spin that not into depression.
Not at all.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I danced. God didn't give me a brain that worried about those things. If there's music, I would dance. You couldn't hold me down. I had all this energy. So I was a happy child.
So you just focused on things you could do.
Oh,
and
definitely.
You've always just
Yeah.
done that
Yes.
instead of focusing on things you couldn't.
Yes.
So getting depressed on why you weren't that good at math or that you weren't that good at reading or writing.
Right.
You never got depressed about it. You
No, because I
moved
always
on.
passed. I wasn't the best, but I got C's. Now, if I'd gotten D's, I wouldn't have passed. And I always had A in deportmanship. Everybody loved me.
Sure.
Because I don't know if I was a little con girl or what, because, but I had a big smile and I was always happy and nice to everybody. It was just part of my nature, and it is yet today.
Yeah, I know that my mom always said I wasn't good at tests. So that made me not be good at tests or
Right.
be
That's it.
averse to taking tests. And
That's it.
But that didn't seem to affect you in that way. You just did other things.
Well, I was just a happy kid, and I just accepted that I was not, but people liked me. Oh, and the boys. Now, the boys didn't chase after my sister, they chased after Rita. And then she'd say, you get away from me. She'd throw a rock at him, she'd do anything. Stay away from her. Because she was she was 14 months older.
Right.
And, but we had to sleep in the same bed until my mother separated us because my sister would say, stay on your side of the bed, because I would ride on her back. I love you. I adored my sister. Because she was smart, and but she'd say, get on your own side, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So my mother would come in, she said, I'm going to get twin beds. And that was the best thing for my sister, but I was always that way. I always would tell her that I loved her and wanted to hug her. That's the kind of person I was.
So back to kind of tying in this attracting boys, or more broadly, what I wanted to ask you is we especially in Los Angeles, the business of entertainment is hugely volatile, right?
Yes,
You're
yes.
hot one moment,
Yes.
you're not hot the next moment. Some people love you and embrace you and push you up,
Yes.
and then the next moment, maybe not. And
No.
then unlike, let's say, a certified public accountant or a lawyer, there's no certification for entertainment.
Right.
You can't even fall back on a degree or something
No,
like that,
that's
right?
true.
To validate you, right? So if
Exactly.
boys validate you, boys tell you in some way, oh, I'm worth something to somebody at some point.
True.
Right?
Yes.
And in that way, Los Angeles tells you you're worth something to somebody at some point, but that can be taken away from you for the strangest of reasons, or for just the circumstance of, and I don't know that has ever affected you. I don't know that, I didn't know you when you were a starlet. I didn't know you when you were actively in the biz, but I know people have always chased that, and people in entertainment have always said, I have to keep going. I had a colleague that was auditioning Jack Lemmon for a stage play.
Okay.
And Jack Lemmon was on the backside of his career, and I think it won an Academy Award, and my colleague just said, why are you here? And Jack Lemmon said, I'm only as good as the last thing I just did.
That's what they say. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
well, with me, the same thing. Now, I know I had a audition at Warner Brothers. I think it was Warner Brothers, and not Diane Keaton, the girl who played Jeannie, Barbara
Eden.
Barbara Eden. She auditioned at the same time. She got the part of Leave It to Jeannie. And
I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie. Yeah. Beautiful show. Lovely. I loved that show. She click her, winking her thing. And that, I was sort of depressed that I didn't get the part, but it was meant to be. So I never let anything say, there's always something, every problem could be an opportunity. You're going to learn to do maybe a better reading. That's another thing. Cold readings, I'm not good at because I'm not a good reader. But you give me that script, you let me take it home for one day, I can do it. But see, cold readings is not for Reita Green.
So it sounds like you were always looking forward. You never
Always.
look back. You never
Never.
look at regret. You
No.
never, oh, this could have been,
Oh,
I
no.
could have gotten that part.
No.
Are you, when you were, did you have friends that were caught up in that? Oh my gosh, I have to keep my status going?
No.
Or how was Doodles with
Well,
that
that's
stuff?
why, because I
Doodles-
was lucky. See, I never felt rejected because my husband was right outside to drive me to the audition and to take me home. And I always had love from him, and I had the children later, But I never felt rejected, no, because he wouldn't let me be. Oh, he would make me laugh. He'd play the piano. I'd dance. I mean, it was a fun life with him. It was good. And I learned how to be better at auditioning and things. And if I got the part, I got it. If I didn't, I didn't.
So it sounds like you had stability in that volatility. Like
Yes.
he gave you stability
Oh,
to
absolutely.
allow you to live in this volatile
Sure.
audition world where you're
Sure.
not getting parts. People
Yeah.
are telling you you're not pretty enough or not smart enough or
Right.
you don't dance well enough or you didn't read well enough, which always happens.
Yeah.
I mean, the turnaround is so fast that kind of decorum goes out the window and
But
people are
once-
just, no, you're not good. No,
Yeah,
no, no,
but
no.
once I got that script, I never lost a part. I never lost a part.
Nice.
And when I was at UCLA and I played the part of Antigone, that was a heavy piece for a young girl. I was 17, but I sailed that part. I got an A-. That's a pretty good grade for a doom cuff, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so from that, and my girlfriend Diane Billuge, it was her that got me to go to UCLA. She was a roommate with us when we were dancing, and when the show closed, she said, we're gonna go to UCLA and you're gonna take that course. Oh, I couldn't do it. I've told you this before. Oh no, I couldn't do that. Oh yes, and boy, best thing I ever did. I give her credit for that because I would never gone into the business without that.
So it
and
sounds like,
I studied also from a neighbor at the Horace Height Ranch, Mary Forbes, actress in the 20s, and she loved Shakespearean plays. So I studied a lot of Shakespeare from her too. That helped me. And it's helped me in life because to be or not to be, and I'm being. I am always in present, I
Sure.
can handle any situation, I think.
Sure. So to sum it up, it sounds like emotional stability and physical stability are good things to have, especially when you're young, having that
Definitely.
love and physical stability
Definitely.
of one place. But then when you're
Yeah.
older,
Yeah.
at least emotional stability.
Yes. And I never held it against my father for calling me that because he didn't know any better that you don't do that to children. But it worked for me because, I loved my mother and father, and I always will till the day I die, even though they're in heaven.
You're going to die?
Someday,
No.
yeah, but
Rita's not going to die.
not for a long
Rita's
time.
world will live forever.
Oh, no, but I'm going to live until I die. You know what I mean? I have so much energy yet, and I have so many things yet I want to do. So I just want to be grateful and say that this is where we sat. I was sitting here and you were sitting in that chair right over there. And I said, Glenn, I've always wanted to do a show. I want to inspire people to believe in themselves, and we can make it, and see the good in each other. And you said, here we are.
Yeah.
We've done about 13, 14, I don't know how many shows.
18 done. This is the 19th.
Oh my gosh, number
Yeah.
9, number 19.
19.
That's 9 and it's 10. That's interesting. So we're going to keep going because it's fun.
Yeah.
And I have some people. Alex the Great, he's this young boy that would been walking by my place for years and years, and his mother, Laura. I talked to them because the lady with the dog from China, that they're not ready yet to, to do a show because of the virus, but these people said they would. So next Sunday, we can interview them, and they got 2 little dogs, so we'll be outside again.
Okay.
With the little doggies. Alexander, he said his name was Alexander, went long time, and I said, do you mind if I call you Alexander the Great, because then I'll remember your name? Oh no, he said, I'd love that. So he likes it. He said, I'll take that whenever I see him, you know.
Sure.
And his mother is very beautiful and kind and loving. So we'll just interview them next week with their little doggies.
Well, thank you. You want to sign us out?
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. And my nephew called me from Portland, Oregon yesterday, and he was talking about his little kitty cat died and everything, and he said, but it's just molecules. Because I have been talking about molecules, that we're just molecules. Nobody's better than anybody else, but I want you to believe in yourself. You're a good molecule, but don't have a big ego and think, we got to see the good in everybody. Okay, bye everybody. See you next time. See, world, what we can do? We never stop learning.